All right. Hey, you know what? Really cool. Z06 has been revealed. I'm sure most, if not every one of y'all already know this. So it was revealed October 26, 2021. And it was a very nice, well put together, well thought out and organized video or short film, followed by a panel. So Taj and several others were on a little commentary discussion panel afterwards. Host, race car driver, of course Taj, engineer, YouTuber, producer, and another race car driver. The whole shooting match was about 43 minutes long. The film itself was about 26 minutes long. So lots of really good information. And what I would like to provide for y'all is a recap of a lot of the features of the Z06 after having been revealed and comparing some of this data with what was speculated here this year and even in the last previous year or two. A quick peek at my spreadsheet that we will be looking at in just a little bit here. So pretty cool stuff. Hope you enjoy it. Welcome to Road Odyssey. Please subscribe. I am Burke, and let's get this show going. Here we go. What do you think? Did GM put the world on notice?
And we're really going to set the supercar world on notice with this one. So
over the past 2 or 3 years, there has been an insurmountable amount of speculation as to what the Z06 would ultimately be. Lots of wonderful spy shots. And the spy videos have just been a thrill to watch. And if you're like me, I especially liked the spy videos relative to the Nürburgring. The teasers have been very nice. Enjoyed those as well. But it's been within all of the news articles since 2019 that I dredge up all of my information relative to this video. Now, I can't give you all kinds of information from these articles, but I give you a lot to provide you with an idea of how well all of these different news outlets provided us with accurate information. Starting back in 2019, there were already beginning to be a lot of rumors, especially when they started talking about a twin-turbo V8. Seems like all the news outlets were going with this, especially because the Blackwing engine was being talked about a lot and being built in the same factory as the Stingray. I like this little comparison sheet from 2019 Top Speed, looking at the various engines, comparing the Z06 with the other two cars. It was back in 2019 that the discovery of the carbon fiber steering wheels was made. And you've probably noticed that it was easily back in 2019, they were already talking about the flat plane crank. Yet they really weren't certain about the horsepower, but these articles were getting very close, knowing that it had to be 600 or more. The possibility of carbon fiber wheels was also very newsworthy back in 2020. Finally, in the middle late 2020, they were discovering that this was a naturally aspirated engine, no longer talking about the twin turbos. They also began hopping up the horsepower. By the middle of 2021, they began figuring out how much horsepower the Z06 would have. Yet they could not figure out for certain what the price would be, and we still don't. According to the spy video, maybe a magnesium transmission case. And here again in July 2021, started suspecting a sub 7-minute Nürburgring time. I thought it was fun looking at some of these renderings, but I don't know that they really amounted to much, but it's always fun to see what people's concepts are. I finished compiling my data by watching the remaining reveals and the actual reveal itself. If you want to see several of these really nice videos, go out to Chevrolet's YouTube channel, and there are at least 6 of them out there that are very fun to watch. All right, we are looking at my C8 Corvette Z06 Z07 spreadsheet, and it's going to be categorized, by time. So this is before the reveal, say, 2019, 2020. This is about September or October 2021. And then over here, this is what we found out after the reveal. And so this is what I used to compare how well all of the information was that we got in the past compared to what we got now in the present. So starting with pricing right here. So well before the reveal, we saw 85 grand. Now, there was a couple that had speculated $150,000. Well, what happened afterwards? Getting closer to now, people began realizing, okay, this is going to be more like about an $86,000, $87,000 base price, or maybe a $90,000, maybe a little over a $90,000 base price. Yet at this time, this is still something that we know nothing about. So nothing in the reveal, and I presume this has something to do with today's economy, supply chain issues. Anything can happen between now and when the car is actually going to get produced. Now, the next main category is availability and production. So 2019, 2020, they thought, hey, this thing was going to come out in 2020 or 2021. Well, no, we had COVID, chip shortage, material shortage, and things like that. So there's no way they could have gotten that right. Then recently, they were saying, hey, this could be as soon as 2022. Well, that's true for the reveal. But actually, we know now that the production should begin prior to the summer of 2022. So how long do you think it'll take to get one? And will the supply chain hold up, or is it going to fall apart again? Styling, this whole section here. So 2019, 2020, they had really figured out, just like all the Z06s, it's very likely that it would be a wide body car. So the articles went over all that, even recently. And of course, we know that it is wider. It's wider by at least 3.5, 3.6 inches or more. All the panels changed except the doors, roof, and hatch. And it's now got larger air intakes because you've got larger rear quarter panels. You've got wider rear vents on each side as a result of that. Rear wheel vents are there, which is really cool, like the rear wheel vents. And they moved the vents for the exhaust. So there's a lot of changes on that rear. And even up front, there's a lot of changes there as well for more cooling and such. But nonetheless, it is much wider, so they got that right. Now, one thing they never talked about was the curb weight. And they still haven't talked about that lately. But only after the reveal have some people figured out that for the standard Z06, it's still going to be maybe about the same weight as the base Corvette Stingray. So they're estimating somewhere around 3,700 pounds. Yet for the track package, they're saying that the Z07 with the carbon fiber wheels and, any other great, wonderful things, it should be approximately 34 pounds dry weight. So anyway, we really don't know. This is still yet again one of the questions, but that's what they're hoping for. It should not be any heavier. It should be lighter. All right, of course, we've got the wider wheels, 20-inch front, 21-inch rear, 345s on the rear. So that's all right. Another thing that they had tried to predict was carbon fiber wheels. And so they only predicted this and got this right because there were some that were stolen on eBay. So they kind of talked about it in that regard. And then getting closer, September, October, all the spy videos and teasers and all that, yes, they found out pretty much that you've got kind of the spider wheels and the Z07 carbon fiber wheels. So anyway, moving on, bigger brakes and rotors. Well, that's fairly standard on the Z06s a lot as well. They had predicted possibly Brembos, and yes, there are Brembos. And apparently, the rotors on the Z06 will be the largest rotors of any Corvette ever made. And for the Z07, you're going to have carbon ceramic brakes and rotors and all that. So a fantastic setup. There was not a lot of talk about suspension, the tuning of the suspension, a little bit in the past. So anyway, not a lot of mention there. Big wing, everybody kind of predicts a big wing. And so on the Z07 carbon fiber big wing, you've got that option. And apparently it's got 734 pound-feet of force at 186 miles per hour. That is phenomenal. All right, any other predictions here? Not much. Rear diffuser, found out some of that only after the reveal. So completely redesigned. So that is very cool. And then we have the front splitter, which of course you would predict that just like you would the wide body. And of course, the front splitter is larger, more aggressive. Here again with the Z07 package, you will get the carbon fiber ground effects package. Anyway, now there was some talk in the past about underbody aero. Not much. I think I only found one little piece of information about that. So I don't really say a lot, but there is apparently on the Z07 the underbody aero strike. So a little bit there. Now there was also mentioned that there could be active aero. No, that was wrong. Carbon fiber body panels. Nope. And the rear hatch trunk space. Don't know if that is any bigger, smaller, have no idea. Finally, carbon fiber steering wheels. Well, those got leaked within the past couple of months, and then it got confirmed by the first October teaser, a little short video that you could see the carbon fiber steering wheel. So, yep, that's true. Got that right. One thing that I didn't notice was that there was really any different buttons on the carbon fiber steering wheel than there is from the Stingrays. The interior, nice. Didn't really say a whole lot. Not until the reveal did we start seeing that there are a ton of carbon fiber options. And, it will be fantastic. And I have on here some notes. I just wanted y'all to know that one of the things that they had mentioned is 11,000 color and styling combinations, and that includes exterior and interior. So there were no mention of new colors. Now I have scrolled down to engine and performance. So this was a group of topics that was discussed quite often in the articles. So one of the things that got terribly wrong was they were saying there would be this twin turbo engine based on the Blackwing, which is for the Cadillac. Very, very wrong. I believe that this possibly could have been confused with the ZR1 leaks. And so there were two very similar quotes that had said the dual overhead cam twin turbo V8 engine is going to be based off the Blackwing engine with twin turbos, blah, 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 blah. Well, that was just evidently very wrong. Now, as far as people predicting it would be naturally aspirated, they didn't really start getting that right until recent. So that was cool. They had vaguely predicted a little bit in the past flat plane crank. And once we got into September, October with really good spy videos, they jumped on this like a, frog on a cricket. So they got that right. So this, we'll say that's pretty well correct. And it's really cool that this is a hand-built, highly precise engine. It's just really a wonderful engine. So another thing that was in their set of predictions, some people had said, hey, this could be an 800 horsepower engine, especially when they were talking about using the Blackwing and stuff like that. Many speculations on this. And one of the quotes from Motor Trend was, they said, expect the Z06 to pump out 800 horses and torque that could approach 700 pound-feet. Then they said flat crank engines tend to produce lower torque levels. So anyway, that was a while back, just pumping out propaganda. And eventually, in a more recent set of articles and stuff, they really toned that down to saying 617, although they knew that this could be much higher. And yep, 670 horsepower. It's the LT6 5.5 V8, 670 horsepower at 8,400 RPM, aluminum forged pistons, titanium connecting rods with those pistons, and just, loads of alterations to that engine to make it operate well at such a high horsepower. All right, another thing, just here in that same relationship, they were saying 700 pound-feet of torque, just like I said right here. So that was way wrong. Eventually, they began getting closer to target within the last few months, 480 pound-feet. So, yeah, they were not too far off as time got closer to the reveal. Now, another prediction, they were saying 8,500 plus rev limit. Some people were going as high as 9,000. And so while they were overshooting this a little bit, that's not bad. Eventually, not too far away, they were beginning to zone in on this and target it better. And finally, by the time you get to some of these October teasers, they hit it pretty much dead on. So that was all right. Now, on engine transmission cooling, there was already not so much speculation as there was just concern that the C8 Z06 better not have the same cooling issues as the C7 Z06. A lot of concern there. Well, here again, with this wide body, the redesign of the side air intakes and the front and even the rear venting, there is a lot of cooling in the C8, so this should not be a problem. Center exhaust, this was guessed pretty well, pretty far back, and then eventually here by September, October, they nailed it, especially with the last, teaser videos and spy videos and all that. So, hey, that was correct. Not only is it correct, but I like the fact that, GM had tuned the exhaust and custom built these exhaust tips so that you could better hear that flat plane crank revving and just making its beautiful sound even from the cab. So very cool. Something we don't know, they had predicted in some of these old articles 200 mile an hour top speed or better, something of that flavor. And no, we don't know anything about this right now, so that's an unknown. 0 to 60, they had no idea. They said that they figured this thing's got to have a great 0 to 60. But it wasn't until more recent, when they saw all the spy videos and teasers and things like that, that they started getting into this 2.7 second guesstimate, which of course has got to be pretty close. GM said in their reveal that they had clocked the Z07 at 2.6 seconds. So we know it's going to be down, down in that territory. So that is okay. Now, what we don't know is all of this right here. So we don't know the 060 to 0 or the 0100 to 0. We do not know the quarter mile. And one of the big ones that we all love to know about is, what is the Nürburgring lap time? So, you may have seen that unofficial lap time that, enabled everybody, mostly the article people, getting closer to the reveal, that there should be a sub 7 second lap time at the Nürburgring, and that it would be very possible. But we really don't know this. All we have are some quotes from GM, especially at the reveal panel and things like that, saying, hey, this will perform with the best. It's a supercar. And they give you a high expectation that this could very well be a sub 7 minute lap time car. So we'll see about that. Over here again, lateral G's. Nobody really knew about what the lateral G's would be, but come to find out, I found one article recently. They said it's at least 1.22 G's, so that's not too bad. The braking, have no idea about braking. So this is another unknown. We really need to see some information all down in this area relative to more of the specs on this car. So then we get down to transmission. Know nothing about this. It's the Tremec DCT. So, it appears to be the same transmission. So all the guesses are, superfluous. They don't mean a whole lot. Now, one of the older guesses from past articles is that it could have a magnesium case. It could have upgraded cooling. Well, yeah, it should. With the added side air intakes and the front grille being completely different, with huge radiators up front as well, and with a lot of the cooling built into the rear now, with the big vents and stuff. Transmission should be very well cooled. One other thing that they kind of played with and guessed at in the past was a manual transmission. This was more of a hopeful guess. Then it was crickets, very quiet. Nobody said anything about that, probably because no, it's not going to happen. My scorecard, basically all down this one column here, as to how well all the guessing was, primarily from the past. So all of these subtopics. How did the news articles do? Well, the pricing, they kind of did okay, I guess. There were some really, really bad guesses of $150,000. And even though that's a bad guess, it may be true. The way that the markups have been going, that are just insanely terrible. But that's not the truth for the base price. So I think they've done okay on the base price, but that is still something we just don't know. But when you start looking down at all of this, there are a few things that were wrong. Active aero, I don't believe it's got carbon fiber body panels. I could be wrong, but I have not heard mention of that. So that could be an error from the past. Another error was the twin turbo. Here again, probably got it confused with maybe other things that are going on within GM. So that just was not very right. And you really can't fault them for not telling us a lot of this other stuff here. So anyway, the scorecard is actually very good. The news outlets did a pretty decent job of giving us a good idea as to what to expect from the C8 Corvette Z06, Z07. All right, that'll do it for this video. I would like to add, though, this is the car that needs to be compared to the Fords, Dodges, Porsche, Lamborghini, Ferrari, all these other cars. This is the number one car, at least at this point in time, to compare to all others. This will be a much more fair comparison. So I am really eager to see what this Z06 has, how much of a punch it's going to pack when it's out there on the Nürburgring. We really need some of these metrics, these numbers, lap times, and all this good stuff. It will be fun to see what this car holds for us in the future. So with that, relax, take it easy, subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye.